Good evening, guys. Welcome to round 5 of the Rookie Racing Championship here at the Hungaroring up in Budapest. We've got the Hungarian GP today as the guys just starting to make their way out the pit box already. I think that's Declan just left the Mercedes garage, if I'm not wrong. First out, yes, there he is. Apologies for the little bit of a delay. We had a few connection issues, hence why we're starting about 5-6 minutes late. Just about got everything sorted and everybody's here, so which is good news. If you could just put in the chat, guys, just to make sure you can hear me nice and clearly. It sounds alright on my end on the OBS, but if you could just let me know in chat, just to say you can hear me nice and clear, that'll be absolutely fantastic. So we see everyone's diving out the pitch straight away, and Declan has spun coming through turn 5. Like he almost stalled the car there, but off he goes again. That's going to hold up a few people. So we'll have a look at the first guys. Got a couple of replacements in tonight. We've got SDQ in one of the Ferraris. We've got the real Sutil in one of the AlphaTauris. I think he might be a new driver actually, so correct me if I'm wrong. We've got Twonk in one of the Renaults. We've got FJW in one of the Red Bulls. And we've also got Carps, who's one of the new drivers in the Williams. Everyone else is as normal. In fact, for a Blitz, who's, well, it says it's P1, it says he's P1, but nobody's set a lap yet, who's currently in first position. He's replacing Purple Haze tonight. Purple Haze can't be with us, which is a shame. Apologies if my voice is a little bit cracked. I've been suffering with it a bit all day, but we should be okay tonight. It feels sounding a bit better than it was before, so might sound a little bit croaky in places, but we'll wait and see. First lap time's coming through. Cohen in the house does a 1:14 to open 1:14.6 to open the timings. Caps does a 1:17, and Bossy splits the two of them with a 1:16.9. And then, oh, they're coming in. There's that many cars coming through. The lap times are coming thick and fast. So Cohen leads the way from Doak, who's 2 tenths off the pace. Then SDQ is just on a 1:15.1. We haven't seen much pace in that Ferrari from the usual drivers, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on tonight. See if it is the car or it's the drivers. Crispy in that very familiar Alfa Romeo opens the timings with a 1:15.1. Again, not far off the pace for SDQ actually. Fabio's just gone 5th fastest with a 1:16.4. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on tonight. For a Blitz in the Mercedes, done a 1:16.7 so far. Bossy with a 1:16.9. Carps is in the pits with a 1:17. Twonk is having another go, 1:17. Declan 1:17.2 to open the timings. Enderman 1:18.1 to open the timings. And that's not a great lap from Felix. Whether that was an out lap or not, I have absolutely no idea, but Felix has done a 2-minute 0.5 there. Very off the pace to open up. I'm assuming he's been caught up in traffic and will go again on this lap. Oh, actually, he's retired from the session. So Felix is out of the race. Is he pulling off to the road? He is. So Felix is out of the qualifying session. The fancied front runner, you would think, is out of the qualifying session within 5 minutes. So that is very interesting. Ben Ratcliffe in the AlphaTauri just on his way to set a lap. Well, that has really opened the equation up. It could be anybody's qualifying session this now, because we know Felix has a fair amount of pace over the rest of the field, and it's a big shame to see that Alfa Romeo pull out at the side of the road. So he's out the qualifying session. Whether there's been a mechanical failure, I'm not sure. It did seem like coming down the straight when he set his lap time that there was smoke coming out the back of that car on the replay, so it'll be interesting to see what the actual issue was. We'll see if we can try and get hold of him to see what happened. I'll try and send him a message and see if he replies. We'll keep an eye on Ben though, who's about to set his first lap of the session. He comes out the last corner. Onto the main straight, 1:15.1 to open his lap times. Good lap from Ben. Splits SDQ and Crispy. It's very tight, P3 to 5. Timings wise, there's not a lot in it between these guys. Have a scroll down the order. We'll have a look at Sutil in the other AlphaTauri. Just on the lap, going down the back straight. The second straight on the Hungarian is actually the shortest DRS zone on the Formula 1 calendar. So you have to get a good exit out of turn 1 if you want to pass in that DRS zone. There's a bit of debris on the track coming through turn 5 there. I'm not sure what car that is off. We'll soon find out later on. Let's see what Sutil can do. He's done 1:17.7 so far, so a little bit off the pace, couple of seconds. Not an awful lot though. He may have been held up in traffic. Hungarian is a very, very tight track, and it's not easy to get out of the way of people. Cross the line he comes. Yep, big improvement up to P12, 1:17.0. And Cohen in the Haas has just gone even faster. He's improved his lap time by about a few tenths, I think. He's done a 1:14.0. I think he was on a 1:14.4, I think. So he's improved by about 3 to 4 tenths. Good lap from him. 8 tenths off the pace is Doek, who's actually spun coming out the second to last corner. And he's been disqualified from the session for going the wrong way on track. Wow. So that's 2 cars out of the qualifying session in the first half of qualifying, and well, that's unbelievable. I didn't expect to see 2 cars go out. Felix going out with what we believe is a mechanical failure, and Doek disqualified for going the wrong way on circuit. So it seemed like to me though there that he just spun round, and the game had decided it wouldn't let him spin round and it's going to disqualify him. I think he was facing the wrong way originally after he'd spun, so I think that's a bit harsh, to be honest, but it is what it is, unfortunately. And he was P2, but now he's going to be starting P19 from the back of the grid. And Doek's just typing in the Discord chat. That's, yeah, well, I don't agree with stuff like that. I think there will be a steward's inquiry into that one, because for some reason the game spun him round. Well, he spun round and he was waiting for a safe place to rejoin, which is what you should do to keep clean racing, and it's just decided to do that. So Doek, if you're listening to this, please report that, mate, if you can. Either use my stream or something, because that shouldn't have happened there. There may be compensation points dished out. We'll have to wait and see in the steward's room later. So we've got a yellow flag in the second to last corner again. I'm not sure who that's for. In fact, SDQ, who we're looking at, is going slowly and going into the pits. As meanwhile, SDQ has dropped down the order. Crispy Chicken has split them with a 1:14.7. And it looks like Crispy is out of fuel. He's going very, very slowly. It's a shame. So we'll have a look at Ben Ratcliffe, who's coming round the next few corners on his next flyer. Looks like he might have got it wrong coming out of there. He might back out of it. Yes, I think he has backed out of that. Unlucky. Let's go and have a look at Versailles. First time for him on stream tonight. We saw him setting some pretty decent pace last time out. And he was up with the front runners in Canada, so at the Canadian GP in Montreal, and it seems like he's a bit off the pace today. Maybe it's a track that doesn't really suit him, you never know. He's boxed anyway, so. And we'll go and have a look at Callum, the single Callum in the Racing Point. Know Callum quite well. I think he's just joined as a regular into this league, which is nice to see. Not the quickest driver in the world. He is on a pad though, so rather than on a wheel, so it is much harder to drive for him. He drops it and crashes. Is he stuck in the wall? No, he's going again. Just lost control of the car there. And that's him back into the pit lane. And looks like Declan in the Mercedes is just setting himself up for a lap. And Storm has been disqualified for going the wrong way. Oh dear. Something's not right with the game tonight, because that's both McLarens out of the session. I'm assuming it's a similar incident for Storm, because the game might be glitched, is what I'm starting to think, because that's two disqualifications for very similar things. And in my book, they seem very unfair disqualifications. I'm just going to ask Storm to see what exactly happened, because that, if it's a similar incident to that of Doek, then there might be a bug in the game, which potentially we might have to go to a lobby reset. Under 3 minutes to go in the quali, but we will just investigate. Most people are in the pits at the minute. We'll have a look at Carps, who's just setting himself up for a lap in the Williams. We might potentially not go to a lobby reset, but due to there's only a few, but that's a shame for Doric and Storm, because Doric was on P2 and well, he says he's put in the chat saying he's going the wrong way, even though he was barely moving and he was just waiting for a clear opportunity to spin his car around. Oh, who's that in the wall? I think it's Subtil. We'll have a look, because Ben Ratcliffe's in the pits. It is Subtil. And oh, Jesus Christ, almost collects Versailles coming back across the racetrack. We rejoined safely, just about. Looked like he had a bit of a mare in that last corner. And meanwhile, in the middle of all that carnage, Justin has got himself up to P3 of 1:14.6. SDQ is actually showing some pace in that Ferrari tonight. So it must be the fact that Please Trey, who normally drives that Ferrari, he's not very good at driving it. And it's probably a point, do you ask about the driver or the car? I think it's the driver in this case for that Ferrari. Enderman's had in the other Ferrari though, has had an absolute nightmare, as you can see. Really struggling. There's Twonk in the Renault, currently P7 on his debut, having quite a good qualifying session actually, as he comes around the last corner. And smoothly on entry. What time is it gonna be? I think he might have backed out of it. He has no improvement. Meanwhile, FWJ's got another lap in the Red Bull. Comes around the second to last corner, into the last corner now. Just waiting for him to finish. And I don't think it's going to be an improvement either, no. So, that is your grid for tonight. So, Cohen on pole. SDQ second, Justin starts from P3, Crispy fourth, Ben Ratcliffe fifth, Versailles sixth, Twonk seventh, Fabio eighth, Carps in ninth, FJW in 10th, Bossy in 11th, Fewer in 12th, Declan in 13th, Callum in 14th, Suttil in 15th, Enderman 16th, Felix 17th, Doric and Storm in the McLarens, both starting from the back after being disqualified from the session due to Cody's crap coding on the game. I think them two penalties were a bit harsh, to be honest. Very, very similar to each other, why they got disqualified. Interestingly as well, Callum and Suttil both qualified on the medium tyre, so maybe potentially them two are going to try and do a one-stop in this race. We'll have to wait and see. Now, with the track being so short, you would think that the one-stop is going to be a possibility, so we'll have to wait and see, and we'll find out very shortly. Just loading into the game now. We'll just take a quick break, guys, before the formation lap, and we'll see you in 30 seconds time. Welcome back, guys, to the Rookie Racing Championship. Round 5 about to get underway round the Hungaro ring. It's the Hungarian Grand Prix as Cohen leads them round on the formation lap. I think everyone just about gets away nice and smoothly, and it should be an interesting race, should this one. Quite a few cars on the grid. As they all make their way round. Ignore that saying Declan is disqualified, it's just the formation lap glitch again. It'll reset him. He may have just made some contact with someone on the formation lap. As they all come round the last corner, starting to form up onto the grid. And Declan isn't disqualified for the session, you can just see him sat there on the grid at the minute. So we look down the main straight. We'll all reset to grid shortly. I can't get a good angle of the start. Now I can. As we go to 5 red lights at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Lights out. Away we go. Good getaway from Cohen. In fact, pretty good getaway from Cohen. They're all going 3-4 wide into turn 1. There's a big crash at the back. I'm not sure that is. I think it's Doek or Storm. One of McLaren's got tagged in the background. There's a Renault round at turn 1 of Twonk. He's had a mare at the start. I think everyone else just about gets through cleanly and make their way through the next couple of corners. Couple of ones going wide. I think that's Declan going wide in the midfield. Everyone just about holds it together. The things seems to be all over the place. The race lead, now it's reset. So Cohen leads the way from SDQ, from Justin, from Crispy, then Versailles, then Ben. And it was actually Storm who had the incident on the first lap of the race. He looked like he got taken out on the main straight there. And meanwhile, his teammate Doek, who's another one coming from the back of the grid, is already up to P10. Great first lap from him, or great first half lap, and we haven't even crossed the line to start the second lap yet. So Cohen leads the way, and like I say, with Felix being way down the order, unless he can pull an absolute miracle driver out, this is anybody's race, is this. Obviously there are pit stops still taken to account. There's a yellow in sector 3 that's being cleared, but most likely it was one of the back markers. I think it was one of the racing points actually at the back. As they come through turns 4 and 5, Cohen leading the way, and Storm and Carps definitely must have had contact early in the race. They're both into the pit lane. Carps just comes out ahead. Look at a couple of midfield battles developing. Look at the late strain of Formula 1 cars. Absolutely ridiculous. We're riding on board with Fabio, who's chasing down Doek, trying to get himself off that cliff edge of P10. Last position in the points. But it looks like on his right hand side of the car, our left there, it looks like he's missing an end plate there. Front wing wise, is he going to go in? No, he stays out. However, I think that's one of the Ferraris in it. Is SDQ, who started P2 on the grid, has been forced to make a pit stop. He's got very heavy front wing damage, you can see that. The guys are changing the wing over. Forward just behind in the Mercedes pit box. He's getting a new front wing put on too. He's on his way. Felix from the back of the grid's got to P9 so far. And meanwhile, Bossy and Fabio are having a bit of a scrap behind him over the last podium place. Doek's moved up to P8, so there's a bit of movement going on with a couple of guys being forced to make pit stops due to damages, etc. Fabio goes very wide there coming out of turn 10. And very wide out of turn 12 there as well. So Felix is making his way up the order, just taking Doek on the inside. Nice move by him. And his next victim will be Declan. Just a couple of attempts further up the road. He's got DRS on him actually. Potentially might make a move down into T1. Sits behind, thinks better of it. If he can get a good run out of here, he might be able to have a go down into turn 2. DRS open, has a lunge, has a look. Declan tries to squeeze him, and was gonna try and take no prisoners in that battle, but Felix is through up into P7. Sectors 2 and 3, there's a yellow flag, and who's that round? I think it's Justin. It is. Justin has gone off in the Haas. He was up in P3 and he spun it again. Just about reset himself and gathered it up. That's a shame, is that, for Justin? He was doing really well. It looks like he may, with them spins, have cooked them rear tyres though, so that Haas is going to be loose all over the place. And he's going to come under attack from Enderman and Callum. This could get a bit hairy. Justin is falling down the order. Enderman down the inside, sends it. A little bit of contact with Callum there. With Justin there. Callum follows through Enderman. And they both gain a position out of that. And who's that in the wall? Is that Fabio? It is! Fabio's hit the marshmallows at the entrance to the pit lane. And it looks like he's tried to go into the pits and hit the marshmallow tyre at the entrance. So that's going to cost him a hell of a lot of time, is that? SDQ moves up the order through them pit stops. Callum, another one coming from the back of the grid up to P11. Good driving so far. There's a little bit of contact there. Being that's the lapped car of Storm, it is. Coming through the field. Trying to unlap himself as much as possible. Ben Ratcliffe falling down the order a little bit, but the main attention's on this man again. Is there any race that he fails to get involved in? He's just done the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on a set of mediums, and obviously starting at the back, he had the free tyre choice, which he's taken full advantage of. Cohen and FJW are in the pit lane. Cohen's just rejoined now. But Felix is now moved up to P3. And he's catching Versailles, who's another one of the front runners, very quickly. Justin and Cohen unfortunately have fallen down the order due to damages and having to make pit stops. But look at Felix go here. We know Felix is quick. They're both pushing to the absolute limits. We might see Felix try and make a move on Versailles here. This is a nice little battle developing for P2. Up the inside. Oh, he has a look, does Felix? He has a look. Versailles tries and squeezes him. Versailles has to run wide and decides that he wants to go in the pit lane, which he has. Almost does what Fabio did a couple of laps ago and hit the marshmallows. Crispy Chickens in the pits. So that means Felix is up into P1. So Versailles clearly responding to Crispy Chicken's pit stop. Bossy moves up to P2. Declan moves up to P3. Cohen up to P4. Bear in mind, them guys have already made pit stops earlier on in the race. So they can potentially go try and get to the end of the race if they can. In fact, most of them are on medium tyres, so they'll probably have to make one more stop. We'll soon find out if they do or not as the race develops. But Felix once again pulling away, 10-second gap to the car in front. And who's that? Fuers has retired from the session. I believe he's gone off somewhere, and that has actually brought out a virtual safety car. I'm just trying to see where he would be on track. So the virtual safety car is being brought out due to Fewer Blitz's retirement. I'm assuming he's had a crash if it's brought out the virtual safety car. He must have had a big one. So it's moving people up the order. Callum, I mean, this is unknown territory for him. He's currently P7 out of all of this. Felix is making the opportunity of a VSC pit stop. So he's now pitted for a fresh set of tyres. And he's P4. Callum is also taking the opportunity of VSC, but as soon as he comes into the pits, the VSC ends. Fabio has just received a penalty for speeding in the pits. I think it was 5 seconds by the looks of things. So Callum is sent on his way. He goes on to a set of mediums. Ben Ratcliffe moves past him and a few others. So Bossy in the Renault leads the way now. From Declan, from Cohen. from Felix, from Crispy, from Vasati, from FJW, and then Enderman is P8 currently. So the Ferrari's showing a bit more pace than what they did previously. There's a yellow in Sector 2. I'm not sure who that is for. I think it might have been SDQ actually. It looked like he may have gone off the track as Twonk overtakes Enderman in the middle sector. But I believe he has a penalty to serve, which I believe is 5 seconds by the looks of things. Justin currently P10 after having a bit of a nightmare on the first couple of laps, as Felix has just dispatched of Cohen. Very quickly indeed he did dispatch of him. Yellow in Sector 2 again. I'm not sure who that is. Somebody's gone wide somewhere. Oh, it's there. It's it looks like Storm, who's a lap down, letting cars go through. So he cut the chicane, but in situations like that you are allowed to skip it to let race leaders get through on you. As now we have a battle for the race lead developing. Bossy on the outside, trying to squeeze out Felix as much as he can. This could turn into a nice little battle. Felix will get DRS down here, using all his overtake mode as well, you would think, and I think that slots him through. It does, but Bossy's going to come back at him and have a go. Who's going to get DRS down the straight? It's going to be Felix, but Bossy's still there. Tries to hang it around the outside. Thinks better of it. Tries to tuck back in to get a decent exit. And Felix is back up into P1, so usual sight at the front. Unlike before, where I thought it was going to be an interesting race, to say the least. So 10 laps down. Felix leads away from Bossy, from Cohen, from Crispy, and who's that? I think it's Cohen that's just gone off. He has, he's into the wall. He's got to come back onto the racetrack, but that's a very big spin for Cohen there. I'm surprised he didn't wreck his car in that incident. He's back going though. Could have ended in tears desperately, and now Crispy Chicken in the other Alpha. He's wanting to try and get past Bossy for P2. Felix does another fastest lap of the Grand Prix as Crispy moves through. Bossy's going to have a late lunge down the inside and try and get it back. Crispy will get back-to-back DRS though and scoot past him. And the brakes, this will turn into a nice little battle, I think. Cohen is in the pits again, so I'm assuming he has picked up damage from that spin. And he's getting that repaired as quick as possible. His teammate Justin and Enderman and Ferrari go past him. They come through the chicane. A bit of a slow exit from Bossy. Vasati's not far off this battle, a couple of corners off. Dakon's not far away. As you see, Sutil come into the pits again. Now he's on a set of hards, so I'm assuming he is boxing due to having damage. Yes, they've got a front wing ready for him, so he has got damage. On goes the new front wing and off he goes. As Felix is now pulling away, but this battle for P2 is far from over. Bossy going round the outside with DRS, almost gets it done. I don't think he quite managed it. He's going to get DRS down here though, and tries to send it down the inside. Somehow they don't touch. And Crispy lives to fight another day, but what a move that would have been if Bossy had managed to pull that one off into T1. Wow, what a move that would have been, but has to settle for P3 for now. And he's got the traffic of Sutil in the AlphaTauri behind them, which they have already dispatched after Sutil made his pit stop, due to having more front wing damage, I think. So onwards they go. I think there's a nice little midway battle developing, there is. So Enderman in P9, Ben P10 and Cohen P11. A three-way scrap for P9. And Storm has retired from the session. There's yellow in sector 3. As Ben Ratcliffe gets it all wrong coming through the chicane and has to settle down. Callum moves up to P11. See Justin and Enderman battling away. But Storm is now out of the race. I'm surprised that hasn't brought out a VSC either, but they carry on racing. Justin tries to send one round the outside. Callum in the racing point. He's catching up with this battle, and so is Ben catching back up again. And all these keep battling. Justin has DRS down the home straight. Gonna look to make a move. It's gonna be hard on them hard tyres. Gets it done though before the corner. Nicely done. And has DRS down the following straight just to pull that little bit further away. As Fabio is now retired from the race. There's a yellow in sector 2. Is that going to bring out a VSC? I'm not sure. I think we might just... yellow's at the chicane actually. In the setting, yeah, you just saw he was pulled off at the side of the road, so that car should be cleared relatively quickly. As Callum has had a spin coming through, almost collects one of the Williams. Jesus, that could have been a nightmare. I'm assuming he's had contact with Ben Ratcliffe trying to get past. So Callum drops down the order to P13. As he carries on his way. Declan struggling up front as well. He's going to have a dive. Bit of contact with the Red Bull for FJW. Just about keeps it clean. It was a bit of a touring car move that, banging each other's wheels. Not often you see that in F1. It looks like FWJ isn't done with this. Bossy's just behind this little battle as well. As there's a big contact. FWJ gets it all wrong coming through the chicane. So Declan breaks away. But Bossy is still all over the back of FWJ. FJW. I keep on getting that wrong. I do apologise. Doick is now retired from the session in sector 3. Is that going to bring out anything? By the looks of things, no. And the yellow's gone away, so that's been cleared relatively quickly. So FJW still having to defend as hard as he can from Bossy in the Renault. Coming down the home straight, nobody got DRS that time round. Bossy will for the second straight though, get DRS, bit too far to make the move. FJW lunges up the inside of Declan there, and Declan might be vulnerable to Bossy on the exit. I think he just about gets away with it. Just about, but Twonk's battling onto this battle. Declan tries to go around the outside, loses out badly. Bossy goes through into P5. What great racing, this is really good to watch. Well, these guys racing really hard. Declan pushing a bit too hard in his Mercedes, and it's costing him time. We've had 4 retirements from this race so far. Because now Twonkis gives Declan a little bit of a nudge. Again, another touring car move being pulled off, and he's got it done round the outside. Great move. So Declan is apparently, his pit window is apparently open, so he'll be pitting this lap. There's a bit more battling going on. Excuse me, Bossy and FWJ again. Bossy trying to make a move as best as he can. Down the inside, that might have been contact there. And it is, Bossy's gone round. The camera was a bit delayed. He's going to wait until there's a safe cap to rejoin, which he does now. That might be one for the steward's room after the race. So Twonk moves up to P5 in all that. FWJ gets a chance to stretch his legs a little bit. Declan and Justin are having a nice little battle behind. As Justin is trying to find his way back up the order after his mere first couple of laps. And Declan's into the pits, so Declan is making a pit stop now. Justin carries on, moves himself up into P6. There's not really many battles still left. However, Twonk is trying to get past FJW. I have to, like I say earlier, I have to apologise to FJW for getting his name wrong all night, or his gamer tag wrong. As Twonk is looking to try and make a move here. Best as he can. He may have a go into the two DRS zones. We'll have to wait and see. 18 out of 35 now, so we're halfway through the race. Twonk has a look and thinks better of it. He comes around, crosses the line. Just gonna have a look down the inside. Just about keeps it together. And he moves himself up into P4. Meanwhile, there's a nice little battle here between Carps in the Williams and Ben just behind him. Is Ben gonna have a look at trying to make a move back? Thought about it, but thinks better of it. As they come down once again down the back straight. Ben's having a good race tonight. Nice and steady, nice and consistent. Dropping down the order a little bit, but not by a significant amount, as Callum skips the chicane there. I caught that one on camera. Callum, if you're watching, he's trying to get past Enderman. And through the S's, he'll probably, if he's within, keeps within a close proximity like that, we'll get DRS on the next two straights. Sends it a little bit deep. That's going to cost him a bit of time. Comes around the corner. DRS open. And trying his best to catch up. He's really struggling though. Pace wise to keep up. Meanwhile, Declan and Ben are having a bit of a battle away. Declan trying to make his way steadily back up the order. Sutil in the Alpha Tower, he's just done the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 1:17.4. Outside the points currently, see if he can hold on to that as Ben makes a mistake and Declan slots through. Very nicely done. However, Ben will get DRS to come back at him. And come back at him he does. So, squeezes out Declan there. That was a bit of a controversial move. Declan might have a go again. There's contact between the two of them. Ben didn't give enough room on the inside. Declan did send it a bit. Almost sent each other to the shadow realm there. They just about keep it together. But Declan goes through in all that. There's a bit of a few controversial moves there. Meanwhile, there's been a crash and Justin's off in the last second to last corner. He's going into the pits again. He's got wing damage. He was having a nice little battle there with FWJ and Twonk, but he's an unforced error you would think has caught him out and it's dropped him down the order. Meanwhile, SDQ and Callum were having a battle and SDQ's off into the wall. And SDQ is out of the race. That might be a dangerous position to retire the car there, if I'm being honest. That might bring out a VSC. I'll have to wait and see. It says it's been cleared, but nothing to be done with. Meanwhile, Declan is now chasing after Justin, just up the road. Catching one by one. Cohen is having a battle with FJW. And I think FJW's just died for the pit lane, he has, so Cohen will get 3 DRS and pull past them boys into P4. Smooth move as Enderman is now catching up to Ben. Slowly but surely that gap is shrinking. It'll be interesting come the end of the race where that will leave him. So I think we've got a little bit of a battle developing for P6 with FJW chasing down Twonk. I'm racing quite hard, these guys. So all over P6, it's all over points. Points, positions at stake in this little battle going on as they come round turn 5 up the hill through 6 and 7 through 8 and through 9 through 10 and 11. Gap is shrinking slowly but surely. FJW probably will get DRS coming onto the straight. It's really one of the only places you can really pass cars around here. I'm assuming that is what he'll be planning to do. The RS flap is open. We'll try and get in the draft of Twonk and try and make a move. He's still trying to close the gap slowly but surely, but he's struggling to do so at the minute. So I think we've got a little bit of a better battle descending on us. Caps versus Declan. Declan runs a little bit wide there actually, that's going to cost him a bit of time. It looked like that gap between them two was shrinking quite significantly. There's a yellow in sector 2 again, not sure who that is. We've had 5 retirements from this race now, which is a shame as Declan dives for the pit lane. And did he reset there coming into the pits? I think he might have done. I have to look back on the replay of that because I think he did reset. FJW coming through the chicane. Again, still trying to close that gap to Twonk. With 10 laps to go. Slowly but surely he's trying to shrink that gap. And hopefully shrink it enough so he can get DRS on the following 2 straights. I think it's just a bit too big. Yeah, just outside the 1 second mark. Out onto the main straight. Another yellow in sector 2. I think Declan might have had a moment. He's just fallen down the order a little bit. And he's rejoined now and got that going. I think it was Declan who had spun round there. Still FJW trying to close that gap. FWJ still closing the gap to Twonk. It's now down to less than 4 tenths. This could be a nice little battle come the end of the race. Both drivers pushing to the absolute limits to try and get as much out of the cars as possible. Looks like Twonk's suffering from a fair bit of a understeer there. Hopefully it won't be a significant amount of understeer. Otherwise FJW is going to be catching up to him very quickly. And we're out the last corner. FJW gets DRS once again. Bossy's into the pits, so they all move up a little bit anyway. And FJW wants to get up into the top 5, you think. And the gap is closing slowly but surely. FJW all over the curbs there. I'm surprised it didn't spin him round. Just about held it together, I think. As he comes around the next few corners. And Fabio is now, well, has left the session. Is his car still going in the race? No, it isn't. It's already retired, so he was clearly just watching the race. Now he's gone. And there's not really many closer battles on track apart from this one at the minute. So we'll stick with it and see what happens. Just over 7 laps to go. 6 laps to go now, my bad. And Twonk is still racing quite hard. Trying to close down that gap as small and as marginal as possible without making any unforced mistakes. And the gap is still shrinking. It looks like there may also be coming across a little bit of traffic / back markers very shortly, which could make this part of the race a bit more interesting as well. And you'd think that I'm sorry, I keep on getting that wrong. It's been a long day, boys. It's been a long day. FJW has the pace to catch these guys up. And FJW is still pushing as hard as he can. And the gap is growing between them two now, so I think we're going to move on just to a little bit of a closer battle, in fact a lot closer battle. And it's for one of the main positions in this race with 4 laps to go. Versailles versus Crispy. And you would think that Versailles wouldn't be able to hang on. Crispy's on mediums, and arguably the better car this season, based on what we've seen. And you've got DRS this time. You would think if he gets close enough he'll fly past. Bit too far back that time. See what he's like coming back down the hill. I think he's a bit too far back again. He is. So he's struggling to make a move at the minute. And it'll be, if he does get past, it'll be one of the first times this season we've seen the Alphas 1-2. We've seen it happen, well, come very close, shall we say, a couple of times. And it's not quite worked out for whatever reason it may be. But you'd think Crispy will have the pace to try and get past. As Crispy still closing the gap. It's still not quite happened so far. The gap is shrinking, but not by a significant amount. Hey up, Crispy goes for a dive. Sends Versailles over the chicane, over the bumps. And Versailles just about hangs on. And Crispy's going to come back at it again. This is where it's going to heat up. Versailles is going to have to try and make that Red Bull as far as possible. Crispy goes for a dive and gets it absolutely perfect. Great job. But Versailles is going to come back at him. And Versailles is half spun. That has taken him out of the race. And there's a yellow in sector 3. I think Versailles got back going. He has, but look at the distance now. Crispy didn't really give him a lot of room there. Shut the door on him. And Versailles paid the price for it. I thought that was going to turn into a nice couple of laps. Last lap battle. As we ride on board with race leader Felix. I mean, if you ask me, he deserves driver of the day. He's driven an absolutely faultless race, and oh my goodness, there's a huge crash. I think that was Declan, who had gone very deep into the corner, and he has absolutely murdered his car. I think it's too late, but to bring out a safety car, but if that was mid-race, I think the safety car would have been out for that, because that was a heck of an impact. Unlucky for him, it looked like he just went a bit too deep and got it wrong. So he's out of the race. Got 6 cars retired. And like I say, we'll go back to Felix on his last lap. What can this man not do? I mean, he's driven another faultless race. That Alpha is serving him well, and rightly so. Really good drive from him today, and He's just nursing the car home now. He's got 26 seconds to his teammate. So he doesn't have to rush. Getting past traffic with ease. And what a race from him. From the back of the grid to P1. Fantastic drive for him. Locks up a little bit coming into the second to last corner. But round the last corner he comes. Felix is round the final corner and wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. Destroys his car across the line. But what a great race it was from him. Fantastic drive. And that was a fantastic race. Well done to Felix. Crispy's round the final corner to take P2. Really good drive from him. Versailles got unlucky in the last couple of laps. Came home to get P3. Cohen's just coming round now to grab P4. Really good drive from him as well, considering he had the mare at the start of the race. Twonk is still battling away a little bit. I think that's Callum, who's one of the back markers actually. Trying to unlap himself. Goes for a big dive. Twonk sends it back on him. And, oh, has Twonk run out of fuel? I think he may have well done. He's going very slowly. So FJW takes P5, Twonk takes P6 due to him running out of fuel in the last corner. Oh my goodness, that was a real shame. Didn't quite save it. Felix, yep, deserved driver of the day for me. I agree with the game there. It was a really good race. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Really appreciate you joining us today, and we'll see you next time. Enjoy the champagne.